नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धे भवतु मे सदा वसुदेवं सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं हरि ओम् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं yes can we first look at the summary of something, some recollection of what we saw last, and then we'll go into this question which Chitralji has asked. Can someone recollect what we saw? Anything that we saw? Yes, please. Anybody?
Yeah, Krishna says that he radiates heat as the sun, as well as he holds and sends rain. He's immortal as well as death, and he is spirit as well as matter. And those inclined to fruitive activity described in the Vedas worship him through his ritualistic sacrifices. Being purified from sin by drinking soma, they seek to go to heaven by virtue of their pious deeds. They go to the abode of Indra and enjoy the pleasures of the celestial gods. But the stock of the merits get exhausted there and they return to the earthly plane. Thus, they repeatedly come and go in this world. Is that right? Is how I understood.
This was your writing, Ji, Binaji? This was your
Yeah.
what you were reading out. It was wonderful. It was a beautiful commentary. It was actually very nicely written. Thank you. Yes, Ji. That I think you please continue keeping a record of all of this. You will have a beautiful commentary of all 18 chapters. Yes. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Then only those who think of him and engage in exclusive devotion provide, he provides what they lack and preserve what they already possess. And those who worship other gods also worship me. But I didn't understand one fact that where he says that, those who worship other gods worship me, but they are doing some wrong by doing that.
So there is, yes, Ji. I think Chitralji also connected to something similar. Her question also was related to this only. Now, what we see is many times when we get into this path of worship, we sometimes limit what the Parabrahman to one particular form only without recognizing that this form is also connected to the Parabrahman. So what is happening here is the bhed is created. The bhed is created, isn't it? So because of that bhed, the highest realization is not got. Many times in that bhed, they say, I have seen everything here, so I don't want more.
Okay.
Did it anyway connect to your query, Binaji?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I can sense like what you were narrating yesterday, that Bilva Patra where you had gone
Yes,
to the Vishnu temple and you asked that lady
yes,
to
yes,
give you.
yes, yes. No, means if you see, even now Bhakti Marga is there. No, it is a beautiful Marga. Nobody says Bhakti Marga is a lower Marga. Same way, Jnana Marga also is not a lower Marga, isn't it? Same way, Karma Marga is also not a lower Marga. Each Marga is a beautiful one in itself, which can give you moksha, liberation, everything. But if you see the divine Aradhya is the Adhipati, isn't it? Of all three Margas. Let us assume that to be one Adhipati or one Devat. He's a what we can Sarva Guna, Sarva Sampanna, Ishvara, whatever name we want to call. Now, what does the Ishwar want? Ultimately wants us to progress, isn't it? Sacrifice. Through sacrifice, we learn, we grow. The entire aspect is our progress. But what does the Bhakta say? Krishna, what more is required? Your name is itself sufficient for me. Why do I need knowledge? Why do I need to develop other faculties? Instead, I will remain in this, only in this bhakti without trying to grow the other dimensions. Like how we say, over specialization of one thing is sometimes harmful also, isn't it? Means when integral growth is like, there's a beautiful story. I think as a child, we must have learned from Panchatantra that the deer was very proud of its antlers. They're so big, so wonderful, all of it. And what happened then is that it gets caught in the branches, because now the other aspects, it is like overdeveloped. What we can say, those antlers are overdeveloped, but they are coming in way. Something like that. The one on the Bhakti Marga says no to the Jnana Marga. That becomes a problem, isn't it? That becomes a problem in the growth of the individual. See, I have a rest. I like bhajans. I like kirtans. But I don't like Upanishads. I don't like to study them because it requires a different type and it is not up to my taste. So if I throw them away, I say I don't want all of it. This is itself giving me everything. It is not a false statement. Yeah, it's like naam is enough. No, Ram naam ki loot hai, loot sako to loot. It is said. अंतकाल पछताएगा जब प्राण जाएगा छोड़. So that is itself sufficient. Nama Smaran is enough. But when our Aradhya is only giving us an option to grow in other facilities, other facets, other faculties, and we turn them away because of our preferences to our own attachments, because of our preference to our own marga, isn't that a drawback? That is what Krishna is talking about. It means it's not a what we can say punishment or something which he's going to give. It is just that we have taken this choice. We have chosen not to learn. We have chosen not to grow. Then what happens? Prakriti is sitting, no, to teach us. Prakriti is make us learn something. You do it, or you'll be forced to do it. So some journey is incomplete. It has to be completed. In school, my chemistry journey was incomplete. Organic chemistry, I was more interested in sports, and I would try to bypass that subject. By God's grace, I got grace marks in the attempt question, which was a compulsory question. There was a mistake in the question. So it was like Bhagwan Krupa, full marks, whoever attempted that question in the board exam. So earlier I was disappointed, but then afterwards happy. So what has happened? I have gone ahead, isn't it? But then I saw in engineering chemistry also is there. Still it is, what we can say, Hydra, no? Putting its head again and again. Somehow I finished my engineering, but somewhere my story was incomplete. So I had to do in correspondence BSc chemistry. Now only chemistry everywhere. After 8, 9 years of completing my engineering. My friends were also teasing me, like, what is this after completing? Now you having to study. I said, what to do? This is some bad karma I did in the last birth, or this birth I didn't complete it. So this is something that in our marga of sadhana, sometimes our preferences take control. That should not happen. That is the bhavartha. We are not trying to say that this person is going in the wrong direction. And again, somebody who is going in a different direction can get the highest sakshatkar also, isn't it? Somebody who is going with a simple, you see, Bahina Bai, they call her Ai Bahina Bai Chaudhary. She did not learn Shastra. She didn't learn scripture. By Sanskrit, she didn't even learn that Marathi language which is being told in entire Maharashtra. She spoke in her own dialect of her region. But she connected, no? She connected because it was integral, it was all directional. That is something. Means, see, she could not go to pilgrimages, she could not go to temples, but her bhakti and shraddha was so strong. What did she do? She made that means Rameshwaram Kashi can come in the place where you are also. If that is your bhakti, that is your shraddha. And Mazi Maya Saraswati Maza Shikavite Boli, that's her word. Saraswati, of course, if somebody could actually go and see at that time, they might have been able to see how Mother Saraswati is teaching Bahina Bai as a keeping her in a lap and teaching like a mother teaching a daughter. So this aspect is possible, but for that we need to have an integral approach. We cannot compartmentalize our sadhana because of preferences. The one on the Tantra Marga can have all pride in the Tantra Marga, but when the moment the person says, my Marga is superior, my Marga is greater than the other Marga, that is the fall. Why his Aradhya only will make him fall or make her fall for saying that. But that is the aspect where we must understand that all are going towards one. But when that does not happen, that is the what we can say limitation. Chitral Maji asked why God does not understand it that it is out of ignorance and so excuse. But I don't think in life we also allow ignorance in anybody, isn't it? Doctor says, oh, out of ignorance, I operated on wrong kidney. Anybody will accept it. Or security guard says, oh, out of ignorance, I thought I'll just take some nap because now generally, according to Panchanga, no theft will take place. Will we forgive this person's ignorance? No. When we don't forgive anybody's ignorance, why do we expect God to forgive our ignorance and allow us to means? No, otherwise, what is the purpose of growing also, isn't it? If everything God has to do, we can as well be bots, don't have any individual free will, individual direction. So we have to learn, we have to grow. That is why this Prithvi is create these hurdles are kept in Prithvi because that will only make us, like it is said, no pain, no gain. Without yajna, we will not rise in consciousness. So, Chitral Maji, is that okay connecting to your question? Yes? I think I'm not able to hear. You can do a thumbs up if it's okay. Yes? All right. Okay, then let us continue. Yes. So, Krishna said this, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. He says, whatever you offer, it does not matter as long as that sincerity is there. Many people say, no, 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 this person's guru is not right, this person's guru. Do we have the right to pronounce upon another's guru? Does anybody have that right? No, we cannot. We should not. It is a very personal relationship. It is a tattva. It is there. And how will say akhanda mandalakaram vyaptam yena charachara. Means that is the tattva which can manifest anywhere at any time. Can we deny somebody's, or can we deny the Guru Tattva's manifestation? It cannot manifest in this place because this person belonged to this particular different lineage or this person belonged to something else. Well, this is something Krishna says the bhakti is important, the shraddha is important, that is most important. When that is there, it is complete. As far as the question comes to what happens to the false gurus, we've all heard about Ekalavya, isn't it? Ekalavya learned from a guru who did not want to teach him. Why? That was the Shishya's, what we can say, the again tapabala of the Shishya, which made the Guru give the knowledge. Something like that. Like there are different devas, they are there. Why are they there? For ensuring the justice to take place. Ganapati is called the Lord of Knowledge, isn't it? He's also called Guru Pakhanda Khandakaya. Any wrong guru is there, first punishment wrong guru will get directly from the Deva only. So just that justice, let us not worry about what Supreme Court Chief Justice should pronounce his judgment. We should focus on our kshetra and our karya instead of getting trapped in another place. But this thing is truth. This is the highest truth which Krishna is talking about. That when Shraddha is there, when love is there, then the offering becomes complete. Sometimes something is not. What Sudama had to offer to Krishna. He did not have even a sweet. His beloved Krishna. He wanted to offer something to the Raja and he was hesitating, isn't it? He was hesitating to give it because his wife said, okay, take it. This is all we can do. But he said, Krishna took it. He said, no, no, don't keep it away from me. I want to taste it. And finally he tasted it because the bhava was there. Somebody would say he's hiding from, he's trying to not give it also. That means it is wrong. No, Krishna could understand the bhava, isn't it? And that bhava makes all the difference. So that completes is what Krishna says. So Krishna says, take me with you. He take me with you at all times. That is a beautiful shloka. Yat karoshi yadashnasi yat juhoshi dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat purusha madarpanam. This aspect of arpana bhava to the Aradhya, that is all that Krishna is asking. Full surrender. Purusha madarpanam. Yat karoshi, whatever you are doing, bring me into the picture. The picture will change. It's like when you have a celebrity guest appearance, immediately the picture becomes a hit, isn't it? Something like that. Krishna is there and he is freely willing to come honorary role. No problem. He's not going to ask any big fee from us. But he's asking one fee which we only bargain and negotiate. That is surrender. We say, no, I can't do full surrender. I'll give you 20% surrender. I'll give 50%. But those who are able to surrender completely can experience that love. It becomes difficult sometimes. Life situations, you know, they appear very harsh. And in that, we cannot see light. But even in those times, we must learn to surrender. It is difficult those times to surrender sometimes. But that also is very much essential and important. One participant, one participant, she surrendered to Krishna and she had a horrible experience that her husband passed away in the mandapa of her Aradhya. Means with such love and devotion, she has surrendered to the Aradhya. Now you will get angry with the Aradhya only, isn't it? It's not false, no, it is not illogical. But she was angry, and rightfully so, isn't it? It's unfair. And her life story actually became worse. I mean, it's like the typical South Indian movies where you see a lot of drama. No? Why South Indian, North Indian also? Any Bharatiya movie we say. Typical dramas where everybody now blames her being the person because of her presence. This has happened. She's inauspicious. All these things, and she had to even pay the debts of her husband, whom she has not spent time with at all. I mean, how unfair is it? Shouldn't the in-laws understand this is not right? We should not allow this to happen, but no, nothing of that sort. So she called her existence zombie existence, that particular period, because she did not know why she's living, what she is doing. But in that time, she was abroad and she would go to the mandir. Regularly in that mandir, she would fight with God. Are you happy? I have little bit happiness. You have taken that away also. Are you satisfied? You see, this, she was actually twisting. It was not a pure bhakti, no, it was a twisted bhakti where you are taking out your anger and frustration at the Deva. But in spite of that, you see, connection is there, no? Smaran is there or not? So even in the distorted form, that Smaran was there, that connection was there, and one day she got the Anubhav, that day she got transformed. So that link of Krishna, that connection, Krishna's connection should not be lost at all times. That is something. So what happens then? It's like you are having if you're in say anybody has gone into a river to swim and you have something to hold on to, then you are, yes. So then you are free, isn't it? Little bit current is also there, yeah, you have something. Or sometimes people throw a rope and children, especially when children are sent into the river, the rope is also thrown. So don't lose this connection. Even if you go a little away, you can hold that and come back. So just like that in our life, we should not lose. We should not lose that connection with the divine because that only will bring us. That will bring us back on track. Why they say have the Shraddha Sthana anchored firm. Shraddha in whom? Shraddha in your Guru, Shraddha in your Aradhya, Shraddha sometimes even in yourself you have to keep. All this will allow you. So even if you go a little astray, you can always come back. So Krishna says, such a person who is able to have smaran of the divine at every point, at every time. Such a person, Krishna says, becomes free. Free from what? Free from karma bandhana. What is karma bandhana? Anybody? We're talking about getting free from it, but we have to first recognize what it is. Yes, anybody?
Our duties.
Duties, all right.
That's why we are bound.
Huh?
Attachments, desires.
Involvement.
Yeah, in attachment, desires, duties. Kalpana ji, yes?
Involvement.
Involvement, absolutely. Sometimes I've given my commitment. I'll go to this particular place. You don't like that place, but you're given commitment. Now it's a bandhana, no?
You have to go.
Yes, yes, yes. I fell into a karma bandhana by Vani. Sometimes by words you get trapped. My new bike was there in college. My friend called me. He said, we'll go on your bike. I said, no, tomorrow exam. He said, "Wait, what? You will fail. You have never failed. No, 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 I have to study. He said, no, no, no. Come 5 minutes. We'll go to the small roadside tea shop. We'll have in tea kade. We'll have one small tea and come back. Now, what was this? This was a Maitri, but it was not free Maitri. It was a bandhana, isn't it? If it was real Maitri, I would have understood that there's no bandhana. My duty comes first. But here, in my attachment, in my involvement, what did I do? I allowed myself to get carried away in that bandhana. And what happened? What had to happen? He did not take me to the nearby place. He took me to 1 hour drive. When I came back, I had very little time and I was doing combined studies with one more friend. We were sharing a book. So he took the new unit and it kept it with him for 5 hours. God only knows it was my worst life experience preparing for that exam. I even remember looking at all my friends in the hall, how they're writing the exam. Only I don't know what's going on. So this is what we can say, karma bandhana. I was not free. I was not free. If I was free, I could have told you no. I'll draw. Nobody forced me to do it, isn't it? But I didn't realize I had that freedom. So like that in life, throughout life, we wait for an auspicious moment. Chalo, theek hai, my Shani Mahadasha will get over after so many years. Then I'll become free. Because some Jyotish told that. Then they go meet the next Jyotish. He said, after that, Rahu Mahadasha is coming. Gone. What is happening? What is going on? Well, it does not come in that sequence. So, but just saying that what we understand is that freedom is important. Freedom is important at all times. It will come when we are conscious. Chetana, Chitta, Shuddhi, all of this will bring us freedom. That is what Krishna is talking about here. And Krishna is close to some people and far away from some people, or he's close to everybody? Close to all. That is what Krishna says here. He says, समोहम सर्वभूतेषु न मे द्वेष्योऽस्ति न प्रियः ये भजन्ति तू मां भक्त्या मयि ते तेषु चाप्यहम्. To all beings I am disposed with equanimity, for towards all I am impartial, bereft of acerbity. But those who see with devotion a holy communion, I reside in them and they dwell in my union. Krishna says this. He says, I am equally present to all. We only unnecessarily think we feel, we become jealous. We feel that God is partial, closer to this person. But it's not like that. He's equally present. Equally present means to all of us. And yet some of us are far away from God and some are close. Why is that? Is it because God's distance is the problem, or is it we are unnecessarily practicing social distancing with our Aradhya? We are trying to keep ourselves away from the divine touch. That, yes. Okay, yeah, I'll just mute. Yeah. So this aspect, the divine is present. Sometimes physical proximity is not equivalent to presence, isn't it? Physical proximity to a particular devasthana, is that equivalent to divine presence, closest? No, it is not. This is so close to the temple, by temple, so close to the church and still away from the God. Yes, that is a phrase, isn't it? What does that symbolize? Physical proximity alone is not sufficient. So that inner connect, and where is divine? Divine is inside of us also. We should recognize it. And he is present equally. That we feel sometimes he's closer to another person. It's because we have only made that. Who is the greatest bhakta of Krishna was asked. The children's batch. All answered Meera, some said Sudama. One small boy said, I am greatest bhakta. Now that was so beautiful. All the teachers appreciated it. After the class, the teacher who was conducting said, see, in the class, this person has answered like this. In so many batches, nearly some 70, 80 batches, we never saw such a response. But how beautiful is it? How true is that confidence? Yes, I'm close. I'm close to divine. Well, if you can see this, you are close. Krishna says very beautifully, he says, this is a very divine union where you are also recognizing the closeness. That is also a mukti. We call samipata to the divine. He says, I reside in them and they dwell in my union. There is no separation of consciousness at all. Krishna says, Api chet saduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak sadhureva cha mantavya samagavya vasito hi sah. Even the most evil amongst men can transform be when When with love and soul they turn towards me. For when his adverse nature and will he has conquered, that changed being, even as a saint, may be considered. So Krishna says, most evil person also has the chance of transforming. The chance is there. We saw, isn't it, Ratnakar becoming Rishi Valmiki, the dacoit getting transformed into a Maharshi. What a beautiful transformation it is. Why? What is this? This transformation is only what is important. And Krishna is saying that. He says, when does that happen? When the love for the divine, when bhakti starts flowing, when bhakti is there actually in everybody, only due to past sanskara, past experience, past whatever you can say, purva sukrut, whatever reasons you may give, n number of reasons, that fountain of bhakti is shut. Shut by what? Boulders, rocks. So sometimes that person has to be shaken nicely. So the boulders will move and the fountain again springs. Something like that. Something happens in life. Many times it is a push, nature's punch, nature's shock that turns a person towards the divine and then awakens that fountain. If that push was not there, maybe that person would not have opened up to the divine only. But when that opening does take place, then Krishna says that the transformation takes place. He says, somebody, when his own adverse nature and will he has conquered, that changed being, even as a saint, may be considered. Means such a person is worthy of being called a sadhu. Who is that? Someone who has transformed one's adverse nature. Somebody who cannot sit for 5 seconds for meditation now suddenly sits for 45 minutes in dhyana. The trance of Shiva, you will see that in this person only. Suddenly, this person is in that beautiful state. Or like Krishna, imagining, visualizing Krishna and meditation is beautiful. So he's so quiet, not a single. His hair also does not move. That quietude is there in Krishna's meditation. Something like that. Yes, Anjaji wants to say something.
The example you were quoting right now is exactly the case with me because
No,
I
no, so,
I was a very restless person. मतलब मैं सारा टाइम कुछ ना कुछ करती रहती थी. And
जी,
now I'm learning Kriya Yoga, so I can sit for 35-40 minutes in meditation in one
जी.
go.
Wow, wow. This according to this shloka, we can call you sadhu also. You have
नहीं नहीं
transformed your
अभी तो
adverse will.
अभी तो
That is
बहुत
the
बहुत
adverse, no, the adverse nature, no? Because
या
transformation of nature. It is not rejection of one's inner nature, it is about transformation. Transformation towards divinity.
5-10 मिनट भी मैं एक जगह पे बैठ नहीं सकती थी. I always used to move around and do something.
जी,
तो
जी.
बहुत फर्क पड़ा. Thank
Yes,
you.
yes. Thank you, ji. Thank you. Absolutely. So this is a transformation. I mean, because somebody is born with some nature, each person. Some people are quiet and peaceful by nature only. For them, transformation would be probably learning to shout at somebody when somebody is doing wrong, because they are now attached to that only. So that transformation takes place. Whatever is wrong in your svabha, if you are able to correct and rise above it, then you can be called a sadhu. I remember there was one boy who was like so calm and peaceful. His name Mohan Chandra is now he's a senior banker also. But I remember in class, always quiet, so much that I got irritated. I was like, what is this? This is improper for a student to be so quiet. So I tried to disturb him and I failed. I failed and I then surrendered to him. I said, boss, I have tried my best. He could not irritate you. How is it that you are not getting triggered? He just looked at me and smiled. This is my nature. I'm like, "Ah, badhiya hai. Some people are born with lottery. What is this? He is not getting irritated at all. But I'm saying is transformation of nature is something we all have some adverse traits inside of us. If we can transform, then we can say if we can transform that, then we can say that we are going ahead on the path of sadhana. Because once the transformation takes place, because you see, adverse nature also has been planted for a purpose. There's a story of a botanist, young botanist. He saw a butterfly coming out of the pupa. Botanist does not have experience now, young fellow. So what does he do? He says, let me go help that butterfly. So with a small scissors, he tries to cut the pupa. What happens then? He learns the worst lesson of his life, most important lesson also, but emotionally it hurts him a lot, because what happened is the butterfly remained crippled because he cut the paper a little bit. Because that strength in the wings comes from the struggle. You remove the struggle, there is no strength. The butterfly is not strong enough to fly. So what did he do? According to his emotional nature, he thought, let me go and help. But that emotion was not enough, isn't it? Higher knowledge is required. Sometimes emotions are also a hurdle. We have to reach that higher perspective. So for that, we have to recognize the need for struggle also. Struggle is necessary. And struggle is necessary for transformation. So Krishna says somebody who is able to do that, is able to transform his nature. Let us continue. Shipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat shantim nigachati kaunteya pratijanihi name bhaktah pranashyati. This is another beautiful promise of Krishna. What is it? This is first, when the transformation happens, then what's going to happen? Then transformation will take place, Godspeed. What we call exponential transformation. Suddenly, if you know Totakashtakam composed by Totakacharya, when Totakacharya was Giri, nobody thought he had any talent in him. Suddenly, one day, Guru's Kripa happens, he comes rushing to the feet of the Shankaracharya and starts composing in Stuti. The person who was considered to not have any wisdom or not be a heightened intellectual suddenly has an opening. Why? That is the Krupa of the Guru, Krupa of the Aradhya. I think we must all have heard of this sloka, isn't it? Mukam karoti vachalam panghum langhayate girim yat kripatamaham vande paramananda madhavam. Means the dumb will also begin to speak eloquently. The limb will be able to climb the biggest hill. Why? How? The Kripa flows, the strength appears. So Krishna says here, he says, his soul, by that realization, suddenly I was doing wrong. Isn't that the biggest punishment for a wrongdoer? The realization that he was wrong or she is wrong. That itself is the biggest transformation. Never will that person do that mistake again. That realization itself becomes a punishment for that person who has done wrong. So Krishna says his soul then gets purified with a divine haste, and in my ethereal peace he shall then awake. O Arjuna, this promise to all my lovers I make. Your love for me shall not go waste. Krishna is saying this. He says, this is the promise of Krishna. Your love for Krishna, your love for the divine. He says it will not go waste. True love doesn't go waste anytime, isn't it? Yes or no? Sometimes we get bad experiences, but true love does not get wasted anytime, because divine ensures that the person's path moves ahead only. It takes the person ahead. People say fall in love. Do we have to fall in love only? Or do we have to rise in love? Emotions sometimes make us fall. But when we understand the spirit, we connect. And then what happens? There's a Devi, goddess in the Rig Veda, divine distributor. Her name is Dakshina. What does she do? She takes the right share and gives to all the devas. Like that, the divine, bring the divine in between. He will ensure nothing wrong will happen. Nothing will get wasted at all. You will never lose. Maybe somebody else may lose you. That is different story. But you on your part, whatever sincere aspiration was there, that aspiration does not go waste, is what Krishna is saying. And best thing is to channel your aspiration towards the divine. Then watch the transformation. Here Krishna says the transformation happens, Godspeed. Krishna goes on, Mam hi partha vyapashritya yepi syuhu papayonayaha स्त्रियो वैश्यास्तथा शूद्रास tepi yanti param gatim. This is another shloka which people try to, without reading the Gita, try to misquote this and interpret it in a very wrong direction. But let us look at its bhava properly. What does it mean? Krishna says, Arjuna, all those who seek refuge in me, even in a womb of sin, born they may be, the wretchedly ostracized, downtrodden, men or women, they all attain to me. To their sincere cause I hearken. In Mahabharata, there is a story, isn't it, of Draupadi calling out to Krishna. Krishna comes, isn't it, in the most difficult situation also. It is another interesting fact that she did not think of calling him out before until that situation was so adverse. I don't think we should allow situations to become adverse, instead become conscious of the divine, because the divine is there guiding, hinting us, protecting us. We have to become conscious. That is important. But Krishna says, even if a womb of sin born they may be, what is the meaning of this? Just look at the perspective. One person born in a home where both parents are there, both parents are working, giving a good atmosphere. That's nice, isn't it? But if they are working as terrorists, what will happen? What is the sanskar that is going to be created on this child? It is going to be hatred only, no? But you see, that does not mean that the person born in this atmosphere, which is against everything that the person is aspiring for, that does not mean that that person is going to perish because this is my destiny. I am born in this home, I am born in this household, nothing I can do. I am a prisoner of this birth. These are all unnecessary, emotional, what we can say, typical people drunk in emotion speak, no? That kind of dialogues. Yeah, I am now, this is my birth, so I will suffer. No, there is nobody who is forced. The freedom is there if you realize the freedom is there. Sometimes, the only reason people are getting oppressed is they're allowing that to take place. They're just giving a sanction to that. They're normalizing that. It is not there. Look at Hiranyakashipu's son. Was he like Hiranyakashipu? He was an Asur, isn't it? But what a beautiful Asur he was. If at all be an Asura, be like him, isn't it? And what happened then? What happened to Hiranyakashipu? That was very dangerous. Let that not happen to anybody else. That is what we can pray. Ki please remain Shanta, don't be Ugra, hey Bhagwan. But we cannot become a victim in our life. Krishna says, whichever situation. Roses grow very well, isn't it, inside of the nursery? Yes or no? Somebody is there to take care. They're going to give nice soil. They're going to give coco-peat also. They're going to give beautiful nutrients. Water is also correctly given. So it's going to grow very well. But what about the roses growing outside? They have to struggle, isn't it? So that way somebody has an advantage. But tell me, which is the sturdier of the roses? If the other rose plants manages to grow, which rose will be sturdier? The one in the nursery or the one that has grown out? The one that has torn out, isn't it? It is something like that. So if you don't have the atmosphere also, use that as a challenge. It is something like it is better to have your enemies very close to you. Tukaram's wife only was the greatest source of his sadhana, continuously negating his spiritual experience at every point. Every point. And what did he use? He didn't cry or he didn't get disturbed by that. Instead, he used it to rise higher in consciousness. निंदा का नियरे राखियो आंगन कुटी छवाए बिन पानी साबुन बिना निर्मल करे सोहाय. Keep a home for your enemies or your critics. Just keep them very close to you. Why? Well, without soap, without water, they'll clean you and remove all your faults. Because freely, without subscribing to any premium membership, you are going to be continuously get a, what we can say, continuous updates of your faults. You can sit and cry about them or you can start eliminating them. So it is something like that. Krishna says, even in difficult moments, sometimes people are pushed aside. Sometimes people are even ostracized by the society. There is nobody else. There is nobody else for such a person. You know who that person finds? The person finds the divine only. When the divine is found, everything is found. So this aspect, Krishna says, all can attain, the call has to be made. Same thing about a spiritual life also. It is said, rare is the one who hears the call, because the call is there for everybody. Krishna is standing with his arms wide open. Come, walk this path. Sri Aurobindo had written a beautiful poem called Invitation. Who will dare? Who will dare to come with me? It's a beautiful poem. I'll try to get that poem and share it. The invitation is open. It's an open invitation for everybody. But does everybody take it? No. When you're too young, you say, I'm too young to take that invitation. And when you're young and in the, what we can say, youthful stage, no, now is the time when I have to experience the joys of life. I have to start my own family. Then you go to the little senior stage. No, I have to now take care of my youngster, my children now. They have to be looked after. This is not the time for spiritual path. When your children also have grown old, they have also got busy, they have stopped looking at you, and now you are wondering what to do. That time also some people hesitate. No, now I'm too old to do it. So this call is there for everybody. Rare is the one who hears the call. Rare is the one who heeds to it. That is what the mother has talked about, meaning maybe 1 in 100 hear it. And among those, and like 1 in 100 also, 1 in 100 listen to the call and act on it. That is something Krishna says. So he says, what about difficult situations? Well, forget difficult situations. What about good situations? We are not in Alipur prison like Sri Aurobindo, isn't it? Where there is a big case foisted upon us that we are going to be hanged. Inside of Alipur prison, he got that great realization. I think we have a better chance by at least materially look speaking. We are not in such a dire situation. Let us not hope that we should also go into a 6 by 9 feet solitary confinement to get a realization. Let us make the most of what we have. Krishna says, Kim punar brahmanaha punya bhakta rajar shayastatha anityama sukham lokam imam prapya bhajasvamam. What then to speak of the Brahma seeker and the most devoted sages, regal and fine? This transient and sorrowful world's every dweller can channel their love to seek the divine. Krishna is saying this. So beautiful it is. Channel your love to seek the divine. Connect with the divine. Don't worry about anything else. Everything else will fall in place. He has said, isn't it? Yoga kshemam vahamyaham ananya chintayanto mam. First part is only difficult. Second part, we want insurance. That yes, it should be looked after. This Yogaksheman Mahamyam is also been utilized as a motto and slogan of a company, which is actually talking about everything except Mam Phaleshu Kadachanam. It is talking about returns. You know, it's an insurance company which says you subscribe to my policy. Krishna is asking a different type of policy, subscription. He's saying subscribe without any attachments. But here they are telling you will get this attachment, or you will not get, somebody else will get with terms and conditions of life. Those are too many, and that we see as the biggest problem sometimes. So Krishna says, no. What to speak then of the Brahma seeker and the most devoted sage, Raja Rishi, the Brahma seeker? Of course, they will also reach the divine. They can easily connect to the divine. When the atmosphere is good, you can make use of the atmosphere. Krishna is saying every single person in this Bhuloka, which is the Martya Loka, which is the Loka of Dukha, which is the Loka of sorrow. Isn't it? When somebody dies, they don't come back. And what do they do when they go? They leave us with sorrow, isn't it? Our heart is open, we don't know what to do. Where Krishna is saying, channel your love to seek the divine, connect with the divine. That is all Krishna is asking of us. He goes on further. This shloka, please note this shloka because this shloka will come again later in the Gita. 75% of the shloka will remain the same, only 25% will be different. But that will be at a time when Arjuna is in a very different consciousness. And the small 25% difference in shloka will make all the difference then. Let us look at it right now. Man mana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi yuktva atmanam mat parayana. So up to this point, it is the same. Krishna, man mana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi yuktva. So this aspect, Krishna is for the first time saying Mam Namaskuru to Arjuna. Perform your namaskars to me. Krishna is telling this to Arjuna. Why? Kalpana ji is not able to hear or something? Audio is gone? No. Yes, so what is this Mam Namaskuru? Why do you think Krishna is saying this? Or suddenly Krishna also got ahankar? So far he didn't have. So suddenly he says, no, okay, 8 adhyayas I've talked. Finally, now I have to get returns for my 8 adhyaya investment. Mam Namaskuru. Why is this being told? Anybody? Why was this not told before and why do you think? Yes, anybody? What could be the logic behind this?
I think it starts with Manmana Bhava Madbhakta. So first is saying Manmana Bhava as in you be of the same like minded, basically like-minded. Manmana Bhava Madbhakta, you are already my
Become
bhakta.
my devotee. Become my devotee. He's saying.
Become my devotee. So as a devotee, you bow down to me.
Yes, but he is now directly speaking this. No, so far he had not directly revealed that
Probably
do
because he's
namaskars
heading
to.
towards the Vishwarupa, so that's why he's
Okay, probably he is. But without that he will not give, is it? Many times people ask, especially younger generation, a friend of mine had asked, do we have to touch the feet of the elders? Anybody?
To remove ahankar.
It removes ahankar. But then by rule, is it a rule that must be followed? Every elder, their feet must be touched. Is it a rule?
Yeah. Yeah.
No. Huh?
Yes.
If that
At
if
least
that
when
elder
we meet for the after some time.
after some time. But many times some of them, what do they do with that? You touch the feet, now you are under my you have now I'm going to stand on your head only. Some people do that only, isn't it? So again, touching the feet, bowing is aspect is important. But again, the sthana where you are, we can say somebody we consider Guru Tulya, Guru Sthana, that is fine. Why? There, Ahankar. Otherwise, you see, sometimes it is not to be done also has been told in Shastra in some places. By general sanskara, this is something which is taught to children also, so that we learn. But that is not rigidity. It is actually for our sake, for our growth. If you see when Shishya and Guru, when that relation comes in, Shishya does namaskar to Guru. And what does the Guru touch? Guru touches the head of the Shishya. And what is he passing on? He is passing on something from another plane only. Because Guru is not taking the namaskar, he is becoming the medium of transferring it. So this aspect, Krishna is saying it is required, Arjuna, for you to move ahead. Arjuna has to learn to do namaskar, he has to bow. Without bowing, what is going to happen? Nothing. One thing is going to happen. He has to go to the divine. This is something, and why is Krishna telling it now? Because he has seen that in Arjuna now, Shraddha has become Jagrut. His doubts have gone down. 8th Adhyay, when it started, Arjuna started in a very different tone compared to the previous Adhyayas. He said, Krishna, how can I know you completely? What happens in Prayana Kala? Tell me what was the Adi Deva, what is the Adi Agnya? So there it is allowed. There it is allowed. When this sthana is there, the exchange is taking place. So sometimes the reason my friend had asked was because the elders were not behaving like elders only and they were doing something very wrong. And she was like, what? They are now forcing me to touch. They even forced her to touch their feet. Now, can you force somebody to do that? Any elder can do that by dharma, swadharma, it is not. Just one cannot be bound like that. But it should come naturally and it comes naturally. It is not wrong also. Otherwise, some people go in the opposite direction, should not do it. In some places, it is told don't follow it. Let only namaskar of the aradhya. Why is that required? Because ahankar must not come into individuals. That is why it is said. But like in mandir and all, what do? There only aradhya, isn't it? The namaskar first to the aradhya. Because here, one adi, one supreme is there. If you go to the Varkari, everybody goes on touching each other's feet, irrespective of the age. Eka eka lagatilam pai re, mandi ela varavanti ghai. In the Vari, everybody says they are all saying Mithu Mauli. COVID time, it was very interesting that Varkaris were prevented from going for the Vari. What did they do? They came up to the last barricade. They came to the last barricade and everybody touched the feet of the policeman and went back. That is the Shraddha, that is the Bhakti, and that policeman also was very much in a different state. He was very quietly receiving and praying him, Vithala, please, this is my duty. I'm standing here, but please take all their, they have come so far in this COVID time, bracing so many hurdles. So that becomes a conduit for reception directly from the divine. Krishna is saying, Arjuna, it's time now for you to go to the next state of consciousness. For that, you'll have to surrender fully. They say full Sashtanga Namaskar. Meaning of that is what? Physical, yes. But beyond physical, it is also metaphysical. That aspect of Namaskar is required. Krishna says this. He says, sacrifice unto me, unite with me through your mind. Myself supreme, you shall know, experience and find. Bowing to me and with love, when me alone you adore, then for the divine union, you shall open the door. Krishna says this. He says, you are going to open the door. Atiti Devo Bhava Vise, isn't it? Here Deva is waiting as on the outside of our doors. We are only not opening the door because of our ankar, because of our preoccupations. Krishna says, surrender, surrender. Your love, first love is only towards the divine. That does not mean you'll stop loving people on the bhuloka. That's what people feel. If I start loving divine, that means I will lose connection with other people. It's not that. Divine will ensure your love becomes the higher and purified love, what we call divine love. Divine love is higher, isn't it? Beyond emotions, isn't it? Beyond limitations of your mind also. It will allow you to get strength. It will allow you to get wisdom. It will allow you to go higher. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. So that consciousness will come. Divine love will allow you to love better also. It will teach you what is the real meaning. So that is something. And so bring the divine first, is what Krishna is saying. Because when you do that, it's difficult, isn't it? God we cannot see. We can see our beloved ones. So what? I have to now keep him second. And a God who is invisible, I have to keep him first. No, I cannot do that. This insecurity comes in. But for somebody who has understood that, then you will see, then it will be the experience. And life also can start experiencing what is the Rasa Leela of divine. That becomes an experience. Like in the gopis enjoyed, isn't it? The gopis enjoyed that presence of the divine. Their love for their spouses did not reduce one bit also. But it was offered to the divine. Krishna says, then you will open the door for a divine union. Shri Krishna goes on, 10th Adhyay. We'll look at some more shlokas. I think, yes. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, Bhuya Eva Mahabaho, Shruname Paramam Vachaha, Yatte Ham Priyamanaya, Vakshami Hita Kamyaya. Listen to the words supreme that I shall now say, for I will part the divine wisdom to you this way. They shall certainly lead to your soul's betterment, as your heart is receiving my words with merriment. What is Krishna saying? He says, listen to my words. This adhyay, what he's going to talk about. Because he says, I will pass an occult wisdom through these words. Anybody has heard of this science called cryptography? Yes? What is this cryptography? Anything you know about it? Sometimes messages are sent through some other symbols, isn't it? Hidden. Cryptic messages are delivered through something else. Like that, Krishna is saying, Arjuna, through words, through words, I'm going to transfer a consciousness to you. Is it believable? Can we transfer consciousness through words? Words are what? Dialogues, isn't it? Is it possible to transfer consciousness through words? That is my question. Krishna is saying, I'm doing that. Yes, anybody? Just
Uh,
through dialogue.
yes, because words are also a form of energy, and
Okay.
consciousness is also energy. So probably,
Yes, words can become mantras also depends on who is uttering them. They say, Shabda tumhara ho sanjeevan. For a yogi who has done vak tapasya, the person's words become a moment of transformation. Damleji's friend had come to him saying he had some bhut badha or something when he was very young. They said, I'll give you a mantra, and he gave a mantra called Kothimbir, coriander. He said, say Kothimbir. Like, what? No, no, say it. Now they look at the personality. Damleji's personality was dabang even when he was young. And his friend had Shraddha in him. He said, okay. He went and chanted that and he got the experience. Means now how did coriander help him? No, but coriander was just a medium for him to develop strength in the mind, mental strength. It was what we can say through the word. Because mantra is also what? Mantra is a madhyam for carrying of consciousness. Sometimes we chant mantras, when we begin with Om, we end with Om, and then we start. Some people say the most occult and most powerful and tantric part is the silence between the two mantras. Because that is the time when you can experience the Shanti of Brahma, if you are conscious. Sometimes the mantras are uttered wrong also doesn't have a matter, it doesn't create a difference. Mara, Mara, Mara becomes Rama, Rama, Rama because consciousness is right, sincerity is there. So this is a beautiful world, and Krishna is saying, Arjuna, I will pass through words, so listen to my words. For me, whatever my teacher has told me, that became the base, whatever dialogue. He would say just initially at least, there were not too many dialogues taking place, but whatever words he would say, those words would become a means for me to learn something. Upanishad, I didn't know what Upanishad was. When he said, he who knows does not know, I shook my head. Means what? Somebody who knows does not know because he knows, so he thinks he's full of that knowing, and I know so much so that that person is not receptive to receive the higher knowledge. When I opened Kena Upanishad, I saw Damleji's words, and I was like, Damleji, you told me Kena Upanishad. He said, you see what you want to see. My job is to just tell what I have to say. That's what he said. But so words become a medium, and Arjuna is now going to receive. Krishna is saying something. And why? So simple it is. He says, Yatteham priyamanaya vakshyami hita kamyaya. Because you're enjoying it, he says. Your soul is receiving it with betterment. Normally, when we like something, we learn better, isn't it? A subject. When we start enjoying it, we start loving it, then we quickly grasp things, we learn. Otherwise, by fear, can we learn? No, it creates a, what we can say, ripple in the consciousness only. It creates a barrier to true learning. And here, Krishna is casually just talking to Arjuna and passing on wisdom. He goes on, Name viduhu suraganaha prabhavam na maharshayaha am adir devanam maharshinancha sarvasha. Neither the mighty sages nor the gods know my transcendental origins many aeons ago. For I am myself the cause and origin of every god, sage, and his kin. Nobody knows my origin because I was before everybody's existence, is what he's saying. Because I am the Adi. I am the Adi Purusha, Krishna says. So the great Devas also don't know, nor do any of these sages also understand. In Rig Veda, there is a mantra. Ya Oshadi Purva Jata Devebhyas Triyugam Pura Manenu Babhrunamaham Shatam Dhamani Saptaksha. Means 3 yugas before the birth of the Devas, the Oshadis or the medicinal plants were born. So the gods came afterwards. Or Savitri begins with, it was the hour before the gods awake. Gods also woke up at one particular time of consciousness. Suddenly there was a stirring. Krishna says, I am before that time also. He goes on. Yo mama jamanadim chaveti loka maheshwaram asum mudaha samrityeshu sarva papai pramuchate. He who knows that I am beginningless, the overlord of all worlds and peoples. I am birthless, free of delusion, the mortal world he inhabits, and falls not prey to evil's sinful gambits. Krishna says, somebody who recognizes the presence of the divine, yes, divine is watching me, divine is looking after me, or divine is there observing. What happens to such a person? Such a person will not get trapped, no? He will not get trapped in moha, he will not get trapped in wrong actions, he will not do evil deeds, no? It's as simple as that. In our factory, Damleji installed CCTV camera, net production increased 20% without any dialogue. I just added extra thing that all cameras also have audio recording. That was not true. But suddenly, okay, Damleji is watching, he is watching, he is watching. That is all that they had to become conscious of. Production improved 20%. How? No new change in machinery, no new change in system. But that was the becoming conscious. Like that in life, if we are remembering the divine, then we'll not do wrong. We'll not do wrong deeds also. Atriputro Mahatejo Dattatreyo Mahamuni Tasya Smarana Matrena Sarva Papai Pramuchate. Same thing Krishna is saying. Asummuda, without doubts, remember, be sure, he says, Samarteshu Sarva Papai Pramuchate. In this world, the person will become free from all papa. It is possible to become like that. Jivan Mukta. That is a great stage of human consciousness. When you are there, then you are ready to play the next role of humanity. Sometimes not just for our sake, for the sake of the world, we have to rise in consciousness. That when we realize it, then we get motivated also to do it. It's not just a personal aspiration. Buddhi jnana sammoha shama satyam damaha shamaha sukham dukham bhavo bhavo bhayam cha bhayam mevacha. We'll stop with the next two shlokas, that's shloka 4 and 5. We'll stop at the fifth shloka. Krishna says, Buddhi jnana sammoha shama satyam damaha shamaha sukham dukham bhavo bhavo bhayam cha bhayam evacha. Krishna is suddenly talking about qualities. What are the qualities he talks about? Let us see. Next two shlokas are just description of qualities. Knowledge, intelligence, and a clarity, bereft of pretenses. Forgiveness, truth, and a control over mind and senses. Joy and sorrow, creation and destruction, the state of being fearless, and also fierce sensation. So these qualities are there. One is knowledge, Vidya. What is this knowledge? Realization only, isn't it? What does knowledge bring with it? One more quality it brings, isn't it? Humility only, isn't it? Vidya dadati vinayam, or Vidya vinayena shobhate. Vidya is more beautiful when wearing a garland or wearing a necklace of humility, something like that. So this is one quality. Intelligence, buddhi. Buddhi also is one of the qualities, isn't it, of some divinity in human beings, some higher consciousness that is there. A clarity. Again, buddhi without clarity is of no use, isn't it? Ravana had the buddhi to control Navagrahas, isn't it? So powerful. So he controlled all Saptagrahas to Chayagrahas, all of them he controlled. Only one thing he sent on vacation was Viveka Buddhi. That's all created all the problems. So a great Ravana, despite having all the intelligence, without clarity, how dare he do what he did? How wrong was it? But Viveka was not there. So clarity is so important. Vivek Buddhi, it is also called Sat Asat Vivek Buddhi, ability to discriminate what is right and wrong. If that is with you, even in the worst moment, you know what is Krishna's wish and you are able to manifest that wish by becoming quiet and connected. So that is also one more thing. Forgiveness. I'll never forgive this person in this birth. Sometimes they carry it for 7 births also. That sanskara goes on. This person did like this person did like this. But I think forgiveness is also something which is important. Maybe not for the other person, it's important for us to move ahead. We have to forgive. Maybe that does not mean allowing that person to continue doing the wrong. I forgive, I forgive, I forgive. It is not that. But forgive yourself for experiencing whatever you allowed yourself to experience. Ensure that that does not happen again. But there is sometimes you have to give closure. If you don't give the closure, you will not be able to move on. That is why forgiveness is important. There was one, this my motorcycle's advertisement. See, Moha, it comes like that, and people knew how to make advertisements. It started with like this: I forgive my father, I forgive my teacher, and I forgive everybody, because that was the ad of the motorcycle, and everybody felt, yes, feel like God, derive that moving that bike and feel like God. But well, forgiving is something which will liberate you only. Your best friend talks absolute wrong and nonsense about you and spreads rumors about you. Will that not disturb you? It will disturb you. And every time you see that person, you'll remember that. And that will create a fluctuation inside of you. So it's like, okay, that person was a big fool. I forgive him for being foolish, because fools behave in a foolish manner. Finish, closure, closure. Next time the person comes ahead, also, it doesn't make a difference. Next time the person repeats the mistake, also, it doesn't make a difference, because you have now gone ahead. You have moved one step ahead. No more can somebody else trouble you. Wrongdoer also. Okay, forgive it. That is important. So forgiveness is also a divine aspect. Truth. Satya. Satya is important at all times, standing by the truth. Can we compromise with the truth anytime? Can we compromise? Sometimes we have to, but then what happens because we compromise? We lose out on our swadharma. So we must recognize what our swadharma is. How it has to be done, that will Gita will tell us later on. Krishna also says, no, buddhi vedam. So don't go and because you are on the truth, you are false. You are falsehood. You are walking in wrong direction. It's not your job or prerogative to go give margadarshan to the entire world. But on your path, you cannot deviate from the truth at all. That is important. Control over mind, control over senses. Without this, you cannot move ahead. Sadhana is impossible without control over mind, without control over senses. Joy and sorrow. Recognizing both have a part to play in life. Sorrow also has a part, isn't it? Without sorrow, you will never understand the real meaning of joy. It's all right. Sometimes things don't go your way. Sometimes things are not ideal. It is not a perfect world. We agree. Yes, there is sorrow. But there's also joy. Being able to look at both with equanimity, that is important. Creation and destruction. You create something, something in Prakriti destroys it. You have to accept it only, isn't it? This is a Shara Vishwa. Destruction is very much part of this. Sometimes people build beautiful organization and suddenly somebody takes over and then destroys it. Because the person is so attached to that organization and cannot tolerate destruction, that person gets destroyed completely because of attachment. What should that person understand? It's okay. It is okay. That is a part of life. I am something more than that. I am created this. I will find the creative spirit to manifest another creation. Because creation can happen at any time. The creative spirit can function. There are great people who have started, they have written their best of best works after they have crossed their 60s. Damleji founded Midam Charitable Trust at 65. How many years he had to wait? He had actually got the mantra Midam in nearly 26 years. It was, I think, 24th November 1996. That was when he, during meditation, he got the word Midam. He didn't know. He didn't know what has to be done with that mantra because he heard it, how it has to be done, what should be done. He met his Comet scholars, asking them what is the meaning of the mantra. Somebody said it is like Soham. Somebody said another mantra. He found out afterwards, Mera Ravinda Sharanam Vedama. Different way, whatever it is. But for him, he just heard that, and you see, after he heard also, he had to wait so many years. Where is 96 and where is 2011? So many years. So many things were created, so many things were destroyed, but looking at oneness, because the new creation would take place. The time was to come. So understanding that creation, destruction, they are both very much a part of our bhuloka, our srishti. The state of being fearless. Jai Bhavani, Jai Shivaji. All the Maratha Mauryaas would go, irrespective of how many soldiers are on the other side, ready to cut everybody on the other side who are going against their Swarajya. So fearlessness, that is also a quality which comes when divine company and divine association. But also fear sensation means you must also understand what is to be feared. There's something called being adventurous. There is something called being foolhardy, isn't it? I travel 27 kilometers on a motorcycle. Can I say I don't need a helmet because Bhagavad Gita Kavach is around my head? Will that be fearlessness or will it be foolhardiness? What will you advise me? This foolish, don't be foolish. Your head is still made of same. You are made of skin and bones. A truck is definitely going to crush you just as it can crush a dog also on the road. So don't start imagining something which is not true. Take care of your life. That is advice, isn't it? All of you would give that. So something like that. What is to be feared, what is not. That must be understood. Becoming conscious, both ends, we must understand. These are all qualities. We'll look at one more shloka and then we'll try to look at why these qualities are told. Ahimsa samata tushtihi tapodanam yasho yashaha bhavanti bhava bhutanam matta eva prathak vidhaha. So Krishna says equanimity, contentment, charity, non-violence, underline non-violence. Krishna has used ahimsa for Arjuna inside of a battlefield. Non-violence, fame, infamy, and austerity. These are but manifestations arising from me alone, all objective qualities of my own. So these all qualities, samata is a divine quality. Contentment, trupti. Contentment also is special, isn't it? That means you can be happy. Somebody may not have something in life, but if you are contented, you are going to enjoy. You're going to enjoy that. How many people have everything in life? Nobody has everything in life. But those who are trupta are those truptatmas who are able to experience the joy of what they have. What they don't have, it is like forget it. मैं जिंदगी का साथ निभाता चला गया. Something like that. You go along with life, experiencing the joys. Become content is what Krishna is talking about. Charity, dana. Dana is also important. What is dana? If I have 10 t-shirts and I give one t-shirt to somebody, it becomes dana because it's extra, because it's old. I want room in my cupboard. Is that dana? No, it's not. Dana is when I have one and I see this person deserves it more and I don't mind giving it. Well, that is dana. And dana does not only mean wealth, isn't it? It could be objects also. It can be not objects also. It can be some consciously done also activity. Vidya dana is dana. Sometimes lending our ear to a friend also is dana, isn't it? Giving our time. Recently, we celebrated what we can say Suicide Awareness Day. The first and most important thing is to lend a listening ear, like Krishna lent to Arjuna, isn't it? Arjuna was feeling, let me end my life. So sometimes lending a patient ear also is important. So this dana is one important quality Krishna is telling. Non-violence, ahimsa. Ahimsa is also very important. For a soldier also ahimsa is required. We will look at it a little bit later on in the Gita. Again, ahimsa will come. But a soldier who is addicted to himsa will become a soldier who is trigger friendly. Such a soldier only may end up killing a lot of civilians also. I know somebody who has slayed so many people and yet the person does not bear a single tone of aggression in his voice, in his speech. I have seen that person's daughter sit and touch his head like he's harmless. And she says, Beta, his daughter is telling to the father. For me, father and daughter relation is always, or father-son relation, I have experienced differently. So I'm like, okay, keep distance, something like that. But this daughter is able to touch, and I was like, wow, what a relation. He must be very quiet and docile, and he must have never fought with anybody. But I learned that this person was in the army, and in the army, he shot so many people. So many soldiers were slain. He told me that he has eaten breakfast next to the body of a slain terrorist. And yet that person becomes the biggest example of ahimsavadi. On the street also, on the road also, while driving, I don't see aggression against somebody who is driving madly. He just quietly. I was like, how is it possible? Well, that is control. That is important. Bloodlust is not required. Arjuna must have ahimsa bhava while he is slaying Duryodhana. He will have to go into that state of consciousness. It should not be out of aggression. It should not be out of emotion. It is only duty. Not one extra arrow has to be fired. Not with 1 ounce of extra emotion then required. That is beautiful. That is dharma, and that it does not become himsa at all when it is done in the right manner. So that ahimsa is required. Fame also. Kirti. People receive fame. What happens then? Immediate collars go up, isn't it? Yeah, I am great now. So no, not required. Don't have to raise your collars just like that. Deal with fame also with something, and recognize fame also has come by a krupa of the God only. Sometimes notoriety also comes to people. They have not done anything wrong and yet they get a bad name. It's all right. It's all right. Deal that also with oneness. Austerity, tapasya, people do. People practice different austerities. Those are also different qualities. Krishna says these are all the qualities. We stop with this. Just one question. Why is Krishna suddenly talking about qualities? He says, I'm going to pass knowledge to you. What is there in these qualities? How is it connected with sadhana or with the divine?
Because if Arjuna has to perform his duty, his karma, he has to abide by all the principles and the values and whatever qualities, he has to imbibe those qualities with him. Like you gave an example of, if you have to fight against Duryodhana, you should just do it with one, that you're doing something right, not with any hatred or
Yeah, yeah.
any other emotion.
Yes, yes, yes. And this quality becomes a litmus test, isn't it, of a person's sadhana also. The person who is taking dhyana session, immediately after dhyana session, you see that person shouting, screaming. What happens then? This person is not really living the principles, isn't it? So qualities are the, what we can say, material manifestation of divinity. They are a litmus. If you see the Devi Mahatmya or Devi's Prarthana, goddess is understood through qualities. Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Shakti Rupena Samstita Namastasya 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 Namo Nama Shanti Rupena Samstita Krishna Rupena Samstita Nidra Rupena Samstita. Means through qualities you connect with the divine. Anybody
Buddhi
knows the
Rupena Sanstita, sir.
Buddhi? Yes, Vidisha, Dr. Vidisha ji. Buddhi Rupena Samstita. Means these
Smriti
qualities.
Rupena Sanstita.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So many such qualities are there. These qualities are indications. This goddess manifests. I cannot see goddess in this Srishti, but I can see the qualities in the Srishti, isn't it? And these qualities become an indicator. If you see, there's a symbol of the mother of Sri Aurobindo Ashram. Has anybody seen that symbol? It is like a flower. 4 petals in the center and 12 petals on the outside of those 4 petals. And in the center, there's a circle. That circle is the supreme consciousness of Aditi. Then around those 4 petals are Mahalakshmi, Mahakali, Maheshwari, and Mahasaraswati. And the outer petals, each are for one quality, courage, this quality, that quality. And why is it? Because through this you are going to raise your consciousness and come closer. You will come closer to the Devis. Each of the goddesses is also connected close to us. Again, Vidya is Mama Saraswati, isn't it? Which quality endears us to Ma Saraswati? It is humility. As we learn, as we grow, the more humble we become, Ma Saraswati gets more blessed and takes us further ahead in the consciousness. So, something like that, Krishna is asking Arjuna, probably in the world, we can recognize the divine through qualities. Qualities are enough for us to understand the presence of the divine. And these 2 shlokas talk about some qualities which can become a lakshana of the divine presence. So why is this happening or why is this being told? We do not know. But I think it is important to recognize the presence of the divine, isn't it? And sometimes when you get a symbol, when you get a omen, when you get a hint of a divine presence, it gives you a lot of quietude, isn't it? lot of peace. Suddenly, yes, a sea of calmness floods our consciousness because you know there is this presence. So if you want to see the presence, start seeing these qualities. You will identify it. You will identify the presence of the divine. So with this, we conclude today's session. If can someone summarize some of the points that you saw, after which we'll conclude with a Shanti mantra. Anybody? Okay, Chitraji. Thank you.
Uh, we saw that Krishna says to offer all the sacrifices, everything. It includes austerities, offerings, everything, including all the donations to Krishna. So we saw that. And by doing so, one can attain liberation from all the karma bandhanas. And he is not discriminatory towards anyone, and he's equally available to all. So, but those who see him with devotion is the one who can see him, and he lives in them. And even people with the most adverse nature or can be like the most evil person also can be transformed when they channel themselves towards Krishna.
There is never
And
no
then,
hope. There's never no hope, isn't it?
yes,
No hope. There's no hope. No, there's nothing like that. That there's no hope. Well, just one small thing is this sister of mine. One more. It was very disturbing to hear from her. At 26, she got cancer of the lungs, and when she got the diagnosis, she told me, I'm dreaming of getting married and I want to have a family. I want to start a family." And she calls me Bhaiya, Dada in Marathi, and she was like, "Now can I not? Now what is this? How can I dream? Can I even dream?" I was myself emotional looking at all of it. How do I speak? I just wanted to, if I become emotional, it'll become a problem. But I told her, who is stopping you from dreaming right now? No doctor can stop you from dreaming. Dreaming is not something which can, no situation can prevent you. But hope, you can hope. Nobody can tell you that you cannot hope just because the doctor told her you have just few months to live. And one junior doctor then told her, maybe you have more. She went and told the senior doctor. The doctor got angry. Ahankar got picked. He said, now you will listen to junior doctor and question my diagnosis. But 1 year later, things have turned. She got cancer free. But see, but nobody can prevent us from hoping. And like Chitraji said, worst situation also, we cannot think, close the chapter. Don't write, put the full stop. Maybe fate can put a comma. All right, take a next paragraph, we'll start. We'll start a new one. Yes, please continue. Yes, Chick.
yeah, and he also promises that his love for him does not go waste.
Please.
Yeah, and whoever seeks refuge in him, though they're living in sinful environments, they also can attain him. That's what we also saw. So, channeling the love to seek him is the most important thing. And we saw that so in order to open the door with the divine, in union with the divine, so one has to offer all the sacrifices, unite with Krishna, and then bow down to
Vam
him with
Namaskuru.
love.
Vam Namaskuru. Krishna has told it clearly. Means there is no room for different interpretations. It's clear. Bow to Krishna. Surrender. Not for Krishna, for Arjuna's sake, he has to bow. He has to bow to Krishna. Yes.
Yes, and then we started with the next chapter. So he said he'll offer the divine wisdom to Krishna that will lead to his soul's betterment, is what it starts with. And he says that he is the cause and origin of every god and the sages. And one who understands that Krishna is um, has no beginning and he is birthless. He is free from this delusion and filled mortal world. And is also protected by the divine and falling into wrong hands also. So, and then we saw the qualities of the divine in the next two shlokas like knowledge, intelligence, forgiveness, truth, control over the mind, clarity, um, joy, sorrow, and etc. So these qualities shows the presence of the divine. So it is important to know in order to identify that divine.
Yes, yes, absolutely. You perfectly summarized, Chitraji. And so these qualities are important. We must cultivate the qualities in us. That is important in sadhana. If these qualities are not there in us and we are doing a particular sadhana, it is like we are missing out on the most important aspect. If we don't have humility, what knowledge are we receiving? It is just furthering arrogance. That means it's not knowledge, you are just getting a boost of ego and ahankar. Higher knowledge is always going to bring you back to the ground. Realize that more is there, much has been done, more remains. That is what Damliji's words he always says. Much has been done, more remains. Even at 78, he can say that. Much has been done, more remains. I think we also can always recognize that, yes, there is so much more we have to do. We may have done certain things which we can feel good about, but let's not think that we have done our best. A lot remains from us. So with this, we conclude with the Shanti Mantra. Hari Om. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyanto, ma kashyat dukkha bhar bhave. Hari Om Tat Sat. Krishnam Vande Jagatpuri. Punarmilamaha. If any queries are there, you are welcome, or we conclude.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Namaskaram.
Hari Om.
Namaskaram. Hari Om. Hari Om.
Sir, one request.
Yeah. Ji?
Yeah, one request. You initially for 4 adhyayas, no, you had said those 20-minute clippings,
Right. I have missed
Ah,
sending it. No, yes.
ah,
From 5th
uh,
onwards.
yeah.
I will do that.
Otherwise,
Yes,
it's like a recorded videos which have been already put in with a link. But if those are also shared, it will be
Yeah.
good. So because
Surely.
it's
Yes, I'll share
crisp
that.
to
I'm sorry.
hear and
Gigi, I'm sorry I missed it. Yes, you can remind anytime. Yes,
yeah,
not
sure,
request.
sure.
You can order only. Don't request. Required. Yes, Hari Om.
Okay. Hari
Namaste.
Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om.